Prabhupadasya sahityam yapakasya vitiryasya pracharan kritavan sadhu bhagavad pad te namaha. Our basis is unto him Srila Bhagavad Pad. You are translating and distributing these sacred books of Srila Prabhupada, and you are engaged in excellent preaching activities. And he is still engaged in excellent preaching activities and still distributing Srila Prabhupada's books by his many dedicated disciples. I'm Jai Govinda Das, just for you who may not know me, I'm from Vancouver, as His Holiness Janardhan Maharaj mentioned. I was initiated in 1983 during our temple opening, and I had the very good fortune as a brahmachari to be the exclusive secretary and servant of Srila Bhagavad. I like to use this term because the honorarium of an acharya, and if you study Prabhupada's books and see what the definition of an acharya is, Guru Maharaj is an acharya, and he definitely deserves the honor name of Srila Bhagavad Pad. So, amongst our godbrothers is a term I feel very comfortable and confident to say. Of course, in an audience, because ISKCON is a multi-guru society, we just use the term amongst ourselves. But I'm sure everyone can agree that it's most appropriate. Presently, I was temple president in Vancouver for almost 2 decades, and presently I'm a co-director for Vancouver and for ISKCON Sharanagati, the center in the rural area of British Columbia. A number of weeks ago, I was just looking through a box of paraphernalia, my nectar. I came across a small phone book. Now, many of you, especially the newer devotees, since the internet and so on, you don't know what a phone book is. They used to have these little phone books, and I had one, and I would keep it. As Guru Maharaj's servant, he would always ask me to phone different leaders around the world. So I would keep the names in these phone book, looking, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Guru Prasad Swami, this. It's quite a nice memento to hold on to. And the way things used to work, because Guru Maharaj was dealing with the world. He was a GBC for the world, and he never stopped. When he came to one place, it wasn't that he was just focused entirely on that place. And it wasn't necessary that he had to be focused because he was so multidimensional. He could manage the whole world from one spot. But he would always be phoning. And he'd have to phone this country, that country, different places around the world. And back then, phone calls were very expensive. So there was a system that we had. I would call the number and say, call so-and-so. Look at my book, call so-and-so. We would make it a collect call. Because a collect call will only connect if the person on the other line accepts. So the system, they knew the system. So one time, especially, we did this all the time. One time, Hridayananda Maharaj, that was the epitome of collect call. Is Hridayananda Maharaj, is a collect call for Hridayananda Maharaj? Is he there? A call from Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Hridayananda Maharaj. Oh yes, he's just parking his helicopter. He'll be here in 5 minutes. So we knew it was him, then we'd make a direct call. We'd save a lot of money that way. But then one of the biggest expenses when Maharaj would come would be the phone bill, because he'd make so many international calls. In the early days, he would travel alone. He wanted to save Krishna's Lakshmi. So he would always travel alone. And unfortunately for him, I had to be the incompetent, foolish devotee that's supposed to be his secretary and his servant. Servant was easy, secretary was hard. And back then, most of my secretarial work was connecting other devotees. He'd want to speak to other devotees, like the temple president, this devotee, that devotee. And he would send me to go get them. Now, we didn't have cell phones, and not everybody had phones. So I was young, youthful, so I could do a lot of marathon running. We had 10 acres. Not like ISKCON Vrindavan or Mayapur, but 10 acres, which was sufficient to keep you healthy, running back and forth. So go get so-and-so, go get so-and-so. And I tried to please him the best I could. And he always seemed pleased. But as my role as being a secretary and servant at that time, young, new, full of false ego, just like Krishna does not like to see any of his devotees with ego, being proud or puffed up, as Srila Prabhupada say. Same with Guru Maharaj. And because I would be acting on his behalf, I could go to the temple president and say, Guru Maharaj wants it immediately, drop everything and it would get done. Immediately get done, whoever you ask. And kind of get it into the groove, I must be somebody important. And as soon as Maharaj would see that, he would come up with some way to make me feel so insignificant. One time, we would regularly go from Vancouver to Seattle because he was a GBC for Seattle. Wherever he was a GBC, he would always go and travel to that place. Wherever he had disciples, he would always go and travel to that place. One time he went to Alaska from Vancouver just for one devotee couple. And that devotee couple, of course, is very dedicated, still dedicated, doing a lot of amazing service. But even for one couple, devotee, so far away, he took the effort. I remember one time he came to Vancouver and he was going to go from Vancouver after a couple of days, go to Los Angeles for GBC meetings. He shows up in Vancouver, his luggage didn't show up. He had his briefcase. His luggage, so he asked his bumbling secretary to go and find his luggage. So I pick up the phone the airline, and then, no result. And then he said, go to the next manager. I went to the next manager, no result. He said, go there and speak to the president of Air Canada. Me speak to the president of Air Canada? Yes, Guru Maharaj. I end up going to the president of Air Canada to speak with him. And obviously the president of the Air Canada, he took a little pity on me. He saw this, this young Hare Krishna, dhoti, shaved head. And in Canada, that's pretty unusual. Here it's not a big deal, but in Canada, that's pretty unusual. And anyway, the next morning he's going to Los Angeles. His luggage had not shown up. With a smile on his face, he picks up his briefcase, the only thing he had with him, goes out the door, he turns to me and says, Jai Govinda, Krishna wants me to be like the 6 Goswamis. And off he went. Srila Bhagavad Pad Ki Jai. I have a few more little notes here. Like many of you, he'd always give me the honor and the privilege to go on a morning walk with him. Even when I come to India, in Delhi, he would invite me. Chandigarh, we did Rath Yatra there, he invited me to go along. Sometimes it was just a couple of us. And as I said, he never traveled with any secretaries or entourage. He would always go on coach. I know practically everybody here is aware that he is the first initiated Indian devotee in ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada did initiate one devotee, Prabhakar, when he had the League of Devotees in 1959 in Jhansi. But when he started ISKCON, the first Indian devotee was Guru Maharaj. He was on a morning walk. Prabhupada's on a morning walk. The evidence is there. There's a conversation. He's on a morning walk, and Srila Prabhupada, he stops, and he starts to chuckle. And all the devotees say, oh, Prabhupada, what's so funny? He said, this Hare Krishna movement is coming from India, and I'm the only Indian. And then he would chuckle. He did this a couple of times, but then in New Vrindavan, he did that, and one of the devotees said, what about Gopal Krishna Maharaj? What about Gopal Krishna? That's the evidence. Guru Maharaj was the first Indian devotee. And in North America at that time, there were hardly any Indian devotees. It was all Western body. But now by the arrangement, I'm sure it's the arrangement of Lord Chaitanya, everywhere the Indians are spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement. Prabhupada always wanted that. If you're from India, that's the quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita. From India, your responsibility is to spread Lord Chaitanya's mission, spread the topic of Krishna consciousness. And now that is happening. As I started to say, we would go regularly to Seattle from Vancouver, and once again, I would be his secretary, and I'd be very happy and also anxious. So we get to Seattle, and one of his godbrothers there, Tripurari, who was good standing at the time, Guru Maharaj, I'm really tired, really anxious. Guru Maharaj sees that, and he introduces me. He says, this is my disciple, Jai Govinda, and he can keep up with me. Because weeks, literally, when Maharaj would be coming, weeks ahead of time, I would be meditating. I'm going to have to go on a marathon. And I was feeling very proud. The next morning he gives Bhagavatam class, and he takes the verse, Savai Pumso Paro Dharmo, first canto, chapter 2, text 6, everybody knows. He sees that I'm proud, and then he picks up the book and he says, we're going to do a class. Even 6-month bhakta should know this verse. Well, I'm more than 6 months by this time. So he chants the verse. There's not written on the board. There's only one book. Maharaj has the book. One of the traveling Sankirtan devotees chants the verse. Another one chants it. Then he looks at me. I don't know, Maharaj. And he kind of gives a little look of disgust. Then he hands me the book. I take the book nervously. The book closes. I don't know where the verse is. So he has to tell me. And then I fumble through it. Savai, pum, so, paro, dharmo. I was feeling, like so small. Immediately took away that pride. Needless to say, by the end of the day, I knew that verse. And to this day, I still know that verse. Maharaj always wanted to stay on Prabhupada ISKCON property. He could stay anywhere, but he always wanted to stay close to the deities on ISKCON property. Just like Srila Prabhupada in the early days, he was staying in a hut in Mayapur. Srila Guru Maharaj, he also wanted to stay on the temple property. So when we were married, my wife and I, and I know many of you have done the same, we would just give up our apartment. But it was a very simple apartment on the property. And Maharaj liked to stay there. So one evening, in the evening, we would go to home programs, big, opulent, palatial apartments, palatial houses. Maharaj would do a program. And then one time I was around the corner and he was saying to the host, he said to the host, now I have to go back to my shack, meaning our apartment on temple property. But he was saying it in a jovial way. That just made me jump with joy. That he's, willing to come and stay in our simple apartment when he could stay in the most palatial buildings anywhere. One time, Maharaj said to me, I was telling Janardhan Maharaj this the other day. He said, Jai Govinda, this is the early days. He said, Jai Govinda, in Montreal, I have Nrsimhananda, looking at him as a leader disciple. In Toronto, I have Janardhan, Bhakta Janardhan Paramachari. And in Vancouver, I have you. So he's thinking, he's got these leaders. And in later years now, I'm thinking, well, Maharaj, I'm sorry I didn't make the grade, but at least 2 out of 3 isn't bad. Every time he would show up at the airport, I would go and meet him. And this, again, was a little in the earlier days. When more and more disciples and qualified disciples came forward, I kind of, stepped back a little bit. My foolishness. But every time I would go, I'd offer my bass, and as soon as I come up, somehow or other, miraculously, his briefcase would end up in my hand. I'd feel so proud. It kind of like, it wasn't like he would reach out to it or I would reach out to it. It just seemed to fall into my hand. And I'd have his briefcase. He would always leave any of his valuables when he came to Vancouver, if he wasn't staying in our apartment or other arrangements. He would leave his valuables. He'd leave his valuables with us. He was always concerned about his green card for America, his passport. He was very, very concerned about it. He would always leave it with us, and he said, make sure that it's taken care of. And I'm thinking, Maharaj, there's never been any thefts on our property. But nonetheless, we put it in the safest, best hidden spot that even the best of thieves would never find. But he's always concerned about. Another thing he showed me, very simple, just like the way Srila Prabhupada mentions, that he showed me how to keep accounts. And he just drew a line and said, this side is what you get, this side is what you spend. Very simple. Of course, it's much more complicated than that. The last time I met Maharaj I had a very good fortune. I'm so happy that I actually took the privilege to go to Baltimore last year, the year before, last year. And he was meeting with everybody. And that was another amazing ability he had. No matter where he would go, he would see every one of his disciples. And he would always make sure that each and every disciple had at least a few minutes darshan. So we were a group from Vancouver, and we were going to be leaving in 2 days. And we were scheduled for that time. And then there was another group from Toronto, and they were leaving the next
choose mode.
Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. Okay, we're back to normal here. Everyone sit down, please. That includes me. I'm gonna face the camera because that's where the camera is. Because if I go that way, then you will see my back. And this is where the live in YouTube, ISKCON Vrindavan YouTube. So, Jai Govinda Prabhu, I think is, yes, I can see you. I would like to call upon Bhakti Yoga Prabhu. Bhakti Yoga Prabhu is also one of the first disciples in Canada of Guru Maharaj. He's in Toronto and Jai Govinda Prabhu is in Vancouver. And later on we'll call upon Washington also, who's the first ones in Washington. And later on also, maybe after Jai Govinda Prabhu we'll call on Gauramani Mataji because she grew up in ISKCON really young age and she had darshan of Guru Maharaj just like when she was, I don't know, like this? Maybe like this.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Gopal Krishna Goswami Tinamini Prabhupadasya Sahityam Ya Prakasha Vitiryacha Pracharam Kritavam Sadhu Bhagavadpade Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisance to Srila Bhagavadpad, Srila Prabhupada, and all the assembled Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. So the first time I met Gurudev, I grew up in an ISKCON that was a zonal acharya system. So we always called him Srila Bhagavadpad until it got changed later on. So I'm still accustomed to calling him Srila Bhagavadpad.
Please bear with me. So the first time I met Srila Bhagavadpad was in Toronto in 1982. It was the first week of July. So my service, I was a young bhakta in the Brahmacharya ashram. My service was to sweep and mop, wash pots, clean the toilets, and help cut up vegetables for cooking. So I was mopping the temple room floor next to Lord Jagannath, and the temple president, his name was Vishwakarma, he was walking through with Maharaj and he was taking him on a tour of the temple. And so he introduced Guru Maharaj to me and said, Guru Maharaj asked me, what is your name? And then I was like totally lost. I couldn't remember my name. So he called me Bliss Das. So anyway, he went on his tour. He came back through there again, and he asked me, "Do you have any questions?" And I felt like a fool. I couldn't think of a question to ask him, so I was just smiling. So he said, "Yes, Bliss Das." He was there for like 2 or 3 weeks. He had come for the Rath Yatra, which is usually around the 2nd or 3rd week of July every year. And so he took me under his wing, so he will take me to programs. Devotees arranged radio programs. You might have seen the famous video presentation where Guru Maharaj was in Vancouver. It was arranged in Vancouver. And so all the devotees in Canada, they were trying to think of, it came back on. They were all trying to think of programs that they can take Guru Maharaj to. So he got, in Toronto area, there were no video or no TV programs for him to go on, but several radio programs. So he would take me with him to all these radio programs. Come, Bliss Das, let's go. So after 2 weeks and he was ready to go, he said, I'm coming back in September, I'll initiate you. So that was actually very, I don't tell many devotees this. It was a very confusing period for me because I had come from a different zone, and there was a zonal acharya in that zone who had accepted me for initiation. And so I told the temple president, I said, like, Maharaj told me that he's going to initiate me, but I'm not going to mention the other guru's name. I'm supposed to take initiation from this other guru, and I've been reciting his Guru Pranam mantra for a long time. So the temple presidents for Toronto and Vancouver and Montreal had a meeting with me to try to convince me that I should take initiation from Guru Maharaj. Not that I regret it, but like I said, I was confused. So they met with the Guru, and the Guru wrote me a very nice letter, and he said, Prabhupada is like a Sarabi cow, and all the Gurus are like bottles of milk coming from the same cow. So it doesn't matter which bottle you drink from, it's the same. So still, I was not 100% sure. So the day of the initiation, and in those days, in our temples, there were many eyes. You couldn't do anything without somebody noticing you, and if it's not something proper, they tell you that you're in Maya. Even if you look outside the door, you're in Maya, right? The new devotees now have it very easy, but it was very tough. Jai Govinda Prabhu is laughing, he knows what I'm talking about. So, next to Gaur Nitai's altar, there's a stairwell going up in the Toronto temple, and there's a window. So I opened the window and I climbed out on the day of initiation because I was still confused about initiation. So I climbed out of the window and I walked. There was a park in the back. Nobody goes there. No devotees go there. So I walked through the back park and I took the back street and I went to the subway. And I got to the subway station. I'm thinking, what am I doing? So I came back. The window was still open. So I climbed back inside the window and came in the temple. And I don't know how Guru Maharaj knew. So he called for me. As soon as I arrived back in the temple, he asked to see me. And he says, where did you go? I said, I didn't know what to say. I was like stammering. So he said, okay, yeah, I'm still going to initiate you. So I got initiated, and the day of the time of the initiation, he gave me a name, and then, I couldn't remember my name.
So afterwards, he called for me, he said, Bhakti Yoga, and then, I didn't respond. Bhakti Yoga, and he said, Bliss Das. He said, now your name is Bhakti Yoga, so no more Bliss Das. So you should answer to that name. So I said, Guru Maharaj, I'm sorry, it's all new. I couldn't remember. So that was Guru Maharaj's mercy. And Guru Maharaj was a very merciful devotee, very merciful person, very merciful guru and acharya. Yes, he is an acharya. And so just fast forward a little bit. During that time between 82 and about 85, I was going around doing like Jai Govinda Prabhu said, there were very less Indian-bodied devotees in North America and very many Western-bodied devotees, and they tend not to, they come to the Sunday feast but they don't give much donation and so on. So we used to go out selling paraphernalia to maintain the temple, to keep the lights on, So I got the opportunity to go out and Sankirtan with Bhakti Marg Swami when he was a brahmachari. We were the Bhakti party. Went with different devotees. So in 1985, one devotee, Lakshmi Moni Mataji, we have a devotee in the temple, Dhammaprana Prabhu, and he had a daughter in Gurukul. So I took him to the Gurukul in New York and we spent a week there. And then she started, Lakshmi Moni Mataji started to encourage me, you should become a Gurukul teacher. So I said, Mataji, I don't want to be a Gurukul teacher. She said, yeah, you should be a Gurukul teacher. You'll be good at it, because I train as an accountant. So I mentioned to Guru Maharaj, he said, you want to be a Gurukul teacher? Come to Vrindavan. It's the best Gurukul in ISKCON.
So I came to Vrindavan in 1985. And then the first week I was in the Gurukul, there were problems. We all know what the problems were. So Guru Maharaj came running he was in Bombay, he came running to Vrindavan. As soon as I heard that Guru Maharaj was coming, I ran to his room.
I said, Guru Maharaj, no,
I don't want to be a Gurukul teacher. He said, oh, well, there's shortage of pujaris, so you can become a pujari. So he made me a pujari. I'd never done pujari service before, because I was doing Sankirtan before. But we had another devotee from Toronto who was donated to Vrindavan when the Vrindavan temple was open. That's Drupada Prabhu. And he was the vice president here at the time. So he took me under his wing and he trained me to be a pujari. The first week, I got the opportunity of bathing and dressing Srila Prabhupada on the Gaur Nitai altar. And then from the second week, because again, shortage of pujaris, I had Gaur Nitai, Krishna Balaram, and Radhasham Sundar. So I would sit there and go, Etad Padyam, like assembly line, bathing and dressing them in the morning. And then after about 2 weeks, one devotee who was taking care of Prabhupada in the Samadhi said, Prabhu, I'm going to get married in Punjab. Can you take care of Prabhupada? So in the morning, I'd wake up, take a shower, go to Prabhupada's Samadhi, do the arti, the Mangal arti, then bathe and dress Prabhupada, then run to the temple and bathe and dress Gaur Nitai, Krishna Balaram, and Radhasham Sundar. And then do the darshan arti around 7 o'clock, offering an arti, and then I go back to my room and that's the end of it. I'd be finished. I'd be, totally tired. But then I had to wake up. I had to be ready at 11 o'clock to go to Radha Damodar temple. So I go on a bicycle. So Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu used to cook a large amount of bhoga for Prabhupada, and he'd pack it and give it to me. And we had a Prabhupada bicycle. I'd ride to Radha Damodar temple and make an offering to Prabhupada and clean and do an arti and clean his rooms and come back. And then usually that prasadam was mine. But back then I was like very skinny. I didn't eat very much. So I had many friends. Many devotees would come because they all wanted Mahaprasadam from Prabhupada. So
after some time, I told Guru Maharaj I wanted to go back to Toronto because it started getting hot like it is now. You could cook a chapati on the ground. It was so hot. So Guru Maharaj said, no, but you should stay here. I said, Guru Maharaj, I can do pujari service in Toronto as well. So I was very so Guru Maharaj said, okay, you can go. So I went back to Toronto. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Many years later, I ended up getting married. So when our first son was born, Haridas, I went to Guru Maharaj came to Toronto and we took him, myself and my wife, and she's holding Haridas and we're sitting in. And Guru Maharaj said, bring him to me. So I didn't want to go and put him on Guru Maharaj. Many devotees do that. Oh, Guru Maharaj, please bless my son or my daughter. And they put it on Guru Maharaj's lap. But I didn't want to do that. So I took Haridas and I came closer. He said, no, bring him closer. So I went closer and then he put his arm like this. So I just put him, he was a new baby, right? So I just put him on his arm. And he blessed him, he put his hand on his head and he said, oh, he's a nice boy. And then we had another boy, Neela Madhava, same story. I was always cognizant of the fact that Guru Maharaj is a sannyasi, and I don't want to just bring a baby and put on his lap, right? So he initiated that whole thing. So when they were about 5 years old, we decided that we wanted to put them in Gurukul, and we traveled around North America looking for a good Gurukul. And then Guru Maharaj said, why don't you take them to India? I said, Guru Maharaj, not Vrindavan. He said, no, you can take them to Mayapur. There's a good Gurukul and it's nice facilities there for Grahastas. So we took them to Mayapur. They were going to Gurukul. And at the time, except for Vrindavan Leela Mataji, there were no Guru Maharaj disciples in Mayapur. Just myself
actually my wife wasn't yet Guru Maharaj's disciple. She was previously initiated, but her guru fell down and she was not, she hadn't accepted anyone yet. So anyway, we were in Mayapur, and so Guru Maharaj, every year he would come for 1 month for the GBC meetings and for going on parikrama with the devotees and so on. So Guru Maharaj came, so we were there, we got the opportunity to cook for him every single day, 3 meals a day, do his laundry, do all the services. I remember one night, Guru Maharaj he was GBC for Mayapur as well. He was always involved in meetings, so many meetings. So from the time he wakes up, he would do his puja, and then there'll be meetings. And then after that, there'll be GBC meetings. Then he will meet with Mac, and he'll meet with some other devotees. At 10 o'clock at night. So one night I brought his dinner, and Guru Maharaj is sitting there, and he's having his dinner, and he's eating, and then he's like falling asleep, like in the middle of his prasadam. At one point, I had to like kind of hold him because he was kind of, I didn't want him to fall off the chair. So he was eating. So then I said to him, Guru Maharaj, maybe you should just be a guru and sannyasi and travel and give up management. And immediately he became fully awake, and he looked at me like I came from Mars, and he said, Prabhupada gave me this service and I'll do it until I die. So then after that I never said a word again because I was afraid what would happen next. So the first year that we were there when he came, we came to his room and he gave instructions what to cook, what to make. So he told my wife, and she did exactly how he said. He said, you get the milk. He says, where do you get milk from? So we said, Guru Maharaj, we get Goshal milk. He said, you get Goshal milk? I said, yes, Guru Maharaj. We've been here a while now, so we came to the top of the list. We were able to get Goshal milk. So he said, okay, then you have to put half water and half milk, and you boil it. So no, he said you put water. He didn't tell me half, so I didn't know that he was getting half water and half milk. So we put a little bit of water. So when we brought the milk to him in the evening, he tasted and he said, "Is this Goshala milk?" I said, "Yes, Guru Maharaj." He said, "Why is it so rich?" I said, "Guru Maharaj, I did what you said." He said, "No, but it's too rich. What did you put inside? Did you put anything?" I said, "No, Guru Maharaj." He said, "Did you put water?" I said, "No." "Yes, Guru Maharaj, I put water." He said, "Well, why is it so rich?" Then later on I found out that it's actually half and half that he wanted. But I didn't understand that in the beginning. So Guru Maharaj was very particular about what he had. So the second year when he came, we came again to see if his diet changed. So he said, "No, you know what it is, you make the same thing." So by then we had purchased this stovetop oven from Navadvip. You put it on top of the stove, and it's an oven and you can bake. So my wife, she figured out how to bake bread in that oven. So one day we decided, even though Guru Maharaj wasn't eating bread, we brought some bread and we got mozzarella cheese from Calcutta. We put it on Guru Maharaj's plate. And so he took a little nibble of the cheese and he said, "Oh, this is really good." So he finished everything. What was up? He said, "Leave the bread and the cheese. I'll have that later." So every day he wanted bread. So when the bread ran out, he says, "Okay, I'm running out of bread. Bake another bread and bring it. And I'll save it to eat during the day." So then some other devotees started coming. One Mataji in particular, I'm not going to mention names. And we were cooking in our apartment in the Grahasta area. She came and she came with ghee and she said, "Oh, this is Ayurvedic ghee. That this is good for Guru Maharaj. It's good for his health." And I said, "No, but Guru Maharaj said he doesn't want ghee. So no ghee." She goes, No, this is good ghee." So we wouldn't use the ghee. So she made something herself. And she insisted that it go to Guru Maharaj. As soon as Guru Maharaj, he said, "Who made this?" And then we told him this Mataji's name. And he said, "Call her here." So he said, no, first he told me, he says, don't let her in your house. I said, Guru Maharaj, how can I not let her in? He said, well, don't let her in the kitchen. I said, Guru Maharaj, I can't tell her not to come to the kitchen. He said, no, don't let her in the kitchen. I don't want her cooking for me. So I said, Guru Maharaj, I can't tell her that. So he said, okay, call her here. So we called her and Guru Maharaj said, don't go into Bhakti Yoga's house and don't go into his kitchen and don't interfere with the cooking. So, but she still came. We couldn't stop her from coming. She's coming. We can't stop her from coming in. So when we went back to Toronto, the first year we were back in Toronto after being in Mayapur for about 5 years, my wife again, she made bread and cheese and put it on his plate. And then all the other Matajis in Toronto saw this. And somebody went to the store and bought bread. And they brought and they're pushing the bread. Guru Maharaj, take this, eat this bread. And then Guru Maharaj took one little nibble because I said, where did this come from? What? Like, did you make this? And she said, no. And he said, where did it come from? And she was silent. She wouldn't say. Then also, they saw that we put cheese. So now they bring like big slabs of cheese and put on Guru Maharaj's plate. Guru Maharaj, you have to eat the cheese. So he take one little nibble. No, you have to eat more. So then after that meal, Guru Maharaj called me. He says, tell everyone, no more bread and no more cheese. I'm not going to eat any more bread or any more cheese. So I went and I told him, why? Why does he want to eat my bread and my cheese? I said, I don't know, Mataji. Guru Maharaj said, no means no. So don't bring any bread or cheese.
Still they're bringing. He called me, he said, Bhakti Yoga, did you tell them? I said, yes, Guru Maharaj, but they're not listening. So he said, so then he stopped eating, he was just pushing aside. So then they understood, no more bread and cheese, because when we gave him something, we never insisted that he eat it. Like, he will take what he wants and he will eat. Never insist. But when the devotee started insisting, sometimes he will do, but then it becomes overbearing. So Guru Maharaj was very merciful. He didn't want to
shatter anybody's devotion by being overly heavy with them, but he'll be with me. So he came one time when we were in Mayapur. I would try to wake up early morning to go to Mangalarti, so I go to bed at 9 o'clock. So I had just fallen asleep, and the phone rang, and one devotee who was the general manager of Mayapur at the time. His name was Nitai Prasad, but I think he later took sannyas. He's no longer. So he called me. He says, "Your Guru Maharaj is here." I said, "What?" He said, "Your Guru Maharaj is here." I said, "Where is he?" He said, "He's in the Conch building." So I got on my bicycle and I rode to the Conch building, and Guru Maharaj came alone. So when I got there, I opened it. He was in the Bombay room. I opened the door. But I was at the door and I was just about to knock. He said, "Bhakti Yoga, is that you?" I said, "Yes, Guru Maharaj." He said, "Come in." So I went in. The room was like dimly lit, and he was sitting way in the back of the room on the floor, and he was having prasadam. So I went and I sat down. I said, "Oh, Guru Maharaj, can I serve you?" And he said, "Yeah." And then I said, "Oh, you're having grains?" He said, "Yeah." I said, we kept Ekadashi yesterday. We were keeping Ekadashi today. And Guru Maharaj said, "Well, I kept Ekadashi in Delhi yesterday." He said, "Don't touch anything." So I said, "Guru Maharaj, but I want to serve you." He said, "No, you're keeping Ekadashi. You shouldn't touch any grains. So don't touch anything." So I sat there to my chagrin. I'm sitting there, and Guru Maharaj is smiling. He's happily eating. He's helping himself take everything. Then he finished. I said, "Guru Maharaj, let me pick up the plates." He said, "No." It was all leaf plate. "No, don't pick it up. It's all grains here. I will pick it up." He picked up the plates. Then he came with a cloth. And he was going to. I said, "Guru Maharaj, let me wipe the. No. I just finished eating grains. You cannot touch grains." And he got down on his knees and he wiped up everywhere where he ate. And then he said to me, he says, "Can you wake me in the morning?" So I said, "Yes, Guru Maharaj." I said, "What time do you want me to wake you?" He said, 3:30. So I went home and I set the clock 2 o'clock. And I woke up, took a shower, and I rode very quickly to the temple. I got to the room. The door was already partially open. I'm thinking, Guru Maharaj didn't close his door. But he was in the bathroom, he could hear me. He said, Bhakti Yoga, is that you? I said, yes, Guru Maharaj. He said, come in. So I came in. He said, I'm in the bathroom. So he had his towel hanging on the door handle. So he said, when he finished taking a bath, he said, is my towel there? I said, yes, Guru Maharaj, it's hanging on the door handle. He said, hand it to me, but don't look. So I took the towel and I pushed my hand through the door and I held it there and he took it from me. But he was already up when I got there. I thought I was going to go and wake him up. He was already up. Then he sent me to get water and so on for him to do his puja. And then, like, fast forward one time, somebody was talking about his sister. So we were in Toronto Temple, and his sister, this was around 2008, 9, something like that. His sister came to the temple because she has her daughter living in Toronto. Actually, her daughter came 2 years ago in Guru Maharaj, in 2023, when Guru Maharaj came to Toronto. His niece came to the niece and her husband, and Guru Maharaj was very happy. I have some pictures. He told me take some pictures. So his niece came and stood beside the chair, and he told me, he said, take some pictures and send it to me. So, but when his sister came in 2008, I think it was, I went upstairs and I told Guru Maharaj, I said, your sister? He said, my sister is here. He said, I don't want to see her. So I came back downstairs, and then she says, can I see my brother? And then I said, Mataji, he's resting. And she said, no, but I want to see, go wake him up. I said, I can't wake him up. Then she said, where is he staying? I said, well, he's staying upstairs. Then she goes up the stairs. Like, I couldn't do anything. So we go up, and then Guru Maharaj said, oh, you're here. And she said, yes, they don't want me to see you. Guru Maharaj said, no, I was in the bathroom. I wasn't ready to meet you. So in the Toronto temple, in that room, the sitting room outside where Guru Maharaj was staying, there's a door with a plain glass window. So Guru Maharaj, she wanted to talk to Guru Maharaj privately, and Guru Maharaj didn't want to talk to her privately. She asked him like 5 or 6 times, and he wouldn't, because he never likes to meet privately with Matajis. So he said to me, he said, Bhakti Yoga, you stand by the door and don't move. I want to be able to see you, and you should see me. So I said, okay, Guru Maharaj. So I went inside and I closed the door, and I'm standing there. And then there's like 2 steps nearby, and some devotees are sitting on the step. And somebody came and they asked me a question, and I moved from the door. And Guru Maharaj started yelling, Bhakti Yoga, where are you? So he got up and he ran to the door and he opened the door. And he said, I told you to stand there. I said, Guru Maharaj, I'm right here. He said, but I can't see you. I want you to stand right here. So I went back and stood by the door. And, by then more devotees came, and that interaction ended, and she was no longer alone with him. But Guru Maharaj was actually very, very particular about, his ashram. He was very, he didn't want to meet privately with Matajis. If they wanted to talk to him, it should be public. It should not be private. So those are some of the, I can go on, there's many more, but I'm sure Janardhan Maharaj is going to start imposing time for him and everyone. So I'll end there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Srila Bhagavad Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
I can still remember the towels, because yes, Guru Maharaj doesn't like the towel to go inside the bathroom. This is how pure he is. All the time. The towel is at the outside on the chair or some platform. The towel doesn't go inside. This is how pure he is, isn't it? Yes? Hopefully one day you'll be able to follow in his purity. So now I'd like to call upon Gauramani Mataji, because she's also speaking on behalf of Jagat Guru Prabhu. Jagat Guru Prabhu is also one of the senior disciples in North America. I think she will say something that Jagat Guru Prabhu sent. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. accept my humble obeisances to all of the wonderful assembled Vaishnavas, dear God brothers and God sisters. Today we are celebrating a festival and also a feeling of great separation and union. So, as I see so many senior, as I was born in Krishna consciousness, born in the temple, born in ISKCON Chicago, everyone here is still a little bit like an uncle and auntie. But now, brothers and sisters. So today we are celebrating the first disappearance day of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So together we can chant loudly because this is the first instruction that He gave me. The holy names of the Lord. I request all of the wonderful Vaishnavas to raise their hands in the air and to chant loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki. Who said that Guru Maharaj has left us? Whoever said that is not telling the truth, because right now, in this very moment, He is here with us, not just in this moment, but He will remain with us forever. It was in 1981. I was reminded this morning by my dear brother, His Grace Pradyumna Prabhu from Los Angeles, who's come all the way for this festival, that Guru Maharaj had come to Vrindavan in 1981 in the guest house, and I was a small child, little baby girl. And my uncle, His Grace Jagat Guru Prabhu, was also visiting Guru Maharaj. And as little children would do, we were naughty little children that Guru Maharaj was giving class. I remember that in his class, he would be preaching so strongly, so fiercely. But if the babies made noise, what would he do? He didn't like it. He would look at the mother and say, he wouldn't stop the class, but he'd be like, maybe we can make the baby happy somehow. He'd say that. So Guru Maharaj came to America many different occasions that I can remember. He would come to the Gurukul to see us, make sure that we were studying nicely in Detroit and then Los Angeles. He called my father one day and he said, I want you to move to Potomac, Washington, D.C. So we packed up our stuff, we moved to Washington, Potomac. My father was temple president, and we were there waiting to greet him. Again, I was just a little girl, didn't know so much. But he would stop amongst hundreds of very eager, loving disciples and say, how are you? And we were ready to speak to him how we were doing. And he would ask that magical question that he asked to little children. What was the question? How many rounds are you chanting? Now, when you're 5 or 6 years old or 7, we would be ready to start chanting from 4 a.m. because we had to go to Mangalarti, and we would just keep chanting until he came, and we had the number was, how many rounds are we supposed to chant? 16 rounds. But at 5 years old, 16 rounds is a lot of rounds. So we'd like to welcome His Grace Surdas Prabhuji and Varaharupa Mataji, senior most disciples of our beloved Guru Maharaj. Let's give a big Hari Bol to welcome them. So we decided that we would begin our chanting. He planted the seed and he said, how should you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Very important instruction he gave. He said, we should chant the holy names like a fast bullet train, or should we chant the holy names very, very focused, he said. When you chant Mahamantra, your 16 rounds, don't just run through them. He said, no. You chant them like you are carrying very valuable gold. And so we would practice every day. A very beloved mother of mine, who is not here with us today, Her Grace Vishakha Mataji, who we miss very much, she would train us how to chant under the guidance of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. She was more than his daughter, and I feel like she's not here because perhaps she would miss his presence immensely. So she left before Maharaj left. Of course, he's still here with us. So we'll fast forward a little bit. Many, many years went by, and he arranged my marriage to his disciple, His Grace Param Prabhu, and I feel very blessed to have that gift in my life. Except there was one thing. Gopal Krishna Maharaj was so kind-hearted, loving, devotional, compassionate, very shy, if you knew him in his heart. But when it came to preaching, he was a lion. He would roar loudly against all of the people that were not Krishna conscious. And I remember that as a little girl watching his interviews on Hare Krishna TV. He would be preaching ferociously, and he would smash the journalists that would ask him questions. And so, the day that I got married, my husband, a few days before we got married, was a brahmachari. All glories to the brahmacharis, and sannyasis, and gurus, and our movement. They are again very powerful preachers. And when the sannyasis or the brahmacharis, not the sannyasis, the brahmacharis become married, oops, what did you do to our brahmachari? So, we got married, Guru Maharaj came. For the wedding, we had 9 sannyasis, all of these wonderful blessings. I got married, I had no idea. In Vrindavan, I didn't know anything about India, unfortunately. But I was following the instructions of my elders. And my husband, who was just a brahmachari, turned into grihasta, who also didn't know much. Sure enough, I was married and I went into the place that they put me, and I waited. Wedding was at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m., 12 noon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 p.m. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. Must be a lot of service. And my husband came home on the day that we had just gotten married, the room we were staying. And I said, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, did you remember that you married me today? goes, Guru Maharaj called me and I went with him to Delhi. And I said, wonderful, so nice service you did. He said that Guru Maharaj called him after he got married and said, Param, I need you to come with me to Delhi because Vrindavan is so dangerous to leave. And so my husband, sure enough, followed the instructions, sat in the car, went all the way to Delhi, and Guru Maharaj stopped his car, turned around, saw my husband, and he said, didn't you just get married? And Maharaj looked at him and my husband said, yes, I did get married today. Well, what are you doing here? Go back to your wife. So sure enough, my husband, he came back. And Maharaj was so kind and loving and compassionate that when our children were born, we wanted to go to see him and get blessings. But before we could go to see him, he called. And he said, you're not going to tell me you had a baby? And we're like, yes, Maharaj, we're going to come. He goes, no, I'm coming right now to your house. Because this is not just your baby. He gave us that feeling that I am grandpa now. And I'm going to come, so he would come before we even realized the baby. I hadn't even left the bedroom yet. The baby was only 4 or 5 days old. And he said, this baby, his name you've given? We said, whatever you say, Maharaj. He said, his name is Krishna Balaram Das. And sure enough, the second baby came. Before we knew it, he called and he came home. And he said, did you name her? And we said, whatever you say. He said, her name is Jai Radhe Dasi. And so, in that way, he showered his mercy. So they didn't know anyone else, the children. They went to Guru Maharaj. My daughter was about 3 years old, and she would be playing at his lotus feet in his room. And every time she saw him at 3 years old, she said, I want to get initiated. And he would look at her and he'd say, are you chanting? And she said, yes, I'm chanting. And she could barely talk. He said, okay, just wait a few more days. And next time, I will give you initiation. So he had so much love. He would come to our home in America, in Milwaukee, and stay in our bedroom. And we would give him a small gift when he would leave. And he would take that gift of money. He wouldn't put it in his pocket. He would take it out of his pocket and he would say to my husband, this is not for me. This is not for you. This Lakshmi is for my grandchildren. And he would put it back in my husband's pocket and he would say, give this to your son, give this to your daughter on my behalf. I want to make sure that my grandchildren get that gift. And so then he took the all-night flight to come to my eldest daughter's marriage. And we didn't expect it, but the flight was delayed and still. He waited all night in the airport and he kept calling my husband. He kept saying, is it okay if I come? Can I come? I want to come for her wedding. We're like, yes, Maharaj, but we don't want to give you any inconvenience. He took his flight. And so this is the last story I'll tell. Of course, there's hundreds of memories, but I know Maharaj has time constraint. So my daughter is sitting in the mandap. She's about to get married. Mukunda Prabhu is doing the celebration, puja, the mantras. The father of the bride, my husband, the mother of the bride, were sitting there, were ready to give her in marriage. And all of a sudden, there's all this commotion. And we were like, okay, well, maybe somebody's coming, that's okay. And my husband jumps up, leaves the wedding. He runs, starts running. And the Pujariji says, we need the rings, because we're doing the wedding. Please give the rings. And my husband has the rings in his pocket. And where's my husband going? I don't know. He's running, and he's running, and he's running. And I have to run because he has the rings in his pocket. And I'm thinking, what on earth are you doing? We're in a wedding right now, and he's running out the front gate. And I'm thinking, he's lost it, you know. I mean, what is a wife? So I think, what is he thinking? But he's running, and I start running behind him. Down the road comes a magical. It was like a flower airplane from the spiritual world. We weren't worried about time or place or any other situation because the spiritual ambassador from the spiritual world, the direct representative of the Supreme Lord, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, was coming down that beautiful alleyway, leaving everything, because his granddaughter was getting married, and his son, my husband, didn't think of the externals, but was running to the end of the road to bring Guru Maharaj, to carry him, because his health was not so good, but to personally bring him into that sacred arena, just so that he could give us his last moments, his last blessings. And we begged and begged and begged him. We said, Guru Maharaj, we want you to rest, because we want you with us here forever. And Guru Maharaj said, yes. I am here forever, whether you see me or you don't see me, but I am always with you. Shravanam, just listen. Kirtanam, just chant. Smaranam, just remember. And therefore, we will always be with our very beloved spiritual master. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. I would like to call upon one of Guru Maharaj's senior most disciples in US, Shyam Krishna Prabhu, and then we'll be followed by his brother, Advaita Acharya Prabhu, and then Urmila Mataji. Also, she was one of the secretaries, early secretaries, and then we'll call upon Sura Prabhu. Yeah, but they're together. That's okay. They just now come, Maharaj. Give them some time to breathe, relax. Isn't it? Yes? So, Shyam, where is he? Okay, Advaita Prabhu, please. Advaita Prabhu is one of the main doctors in North America, especially Washington area, whereby he would spend, he's a doctor, okay? He would spend like a month traveling with us all over North America. He did not consider his profession more important than being with us, especially in the last few years. He wanted to be sure that Guru Maharaj is being well taken care of. I don't know if there is any doctor who can do that. leading the profession for 1 month, but he has so much love for Guru Maharaj. And same with Shyam Krishna Prabhu, his elder brother.
Hare Krishna. Namaha Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastadaya Bhutale Srimate Gopal Krishna Goswami iti namine Prabhupadasya Sahityam ya Prakash Viryach Pracharan Kuttam Sadhu Bhagavad Padaya te Namaha. Jai Srila Bhagavad Pad, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Respected senior Vaishnavas, all my dear God brothers and God sisters, please accept my Dandavat Pranam at your lotus feet. My humble obeisances to all of you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Bhagavad Pad. First and foremost, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to His Holiness Sanatana Maharaj and Tirobhav committee members for organizing this wonderful event. This is a most auspicious event in our life. This is the first anniversary. We have mixed feelings now. Less than a year ago, Guru Maharaj was with us in his Vapu form. Today we have only his sweet memory and his powerful instructions with us in our hearts. My feelings are very mixed. My heart is filled with sadness, but my intelligence reminds me this is not a time of sorrow. It is time to celebrate his glorious life and legacy. Because although his body is no longer with us, his presence, his voice, his instructions, his memories, and his blessing remain with us eternally. While reflecting on my past Vyas Puja offering, I saw that every single year Guru Maharaj reached a new milestone in serving Srila Prabhupada. Looking at myself, I feel I haven't changed much. I remain in ignorance. I only wish I had worked harder to please him. The scripture says, if you please your Guru Maharaj, Krishna will be pleased. Guru Maharaj is well known to every devotee and well-wisher for his deep spiritual sadhana, his simplicity and love and dedication to Srila Prabhupada. He was extremely respectful and careful in dealing with all his God brothers and God sisters. His humility and gentleness were a reflection of his pure devotion. He had many amazing qualities, but one that stood out was his unique and unmatched dedication to Srila Prabhupada. He was a perfect disciple. Even before meeting Srila Prabhupada physically, he was already engaged in service, serving him and his mission. And until his final breath, he continued to serve Srila Prabhupada with the same intensity and love. I feel deeply fortunate to have received his causeless mercy. Beginning in 1982, when he first visited my hometown, Dakor is a holy place of Ranjorji in Gujarat. He came to our home. He was supposed to come on Dasmi, but Krishna's arrangement, he came on Ekadashi. He accepted me as a disciple, as my father, late Namkirtan Das, has begged him, because I was not qualified. Since then, he held my hand like a loving father, guiding me step by step, year after year, from 1983 to August 2023. Guru Maharaj visited ISKCON of DC almost every year except during the pandemic time. His contributions to Washington DC and Baltimore vast. He served as a lifetime trustee of ISKCON of DC and GBC member for a long time. He inspired many disciples and devotees to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and served as a pillar of strength for the entire region. He guided us in building the beautiful Radha Madan Mohan temple in Washington DC. His disciples contributed all the level, physically, intellectually and financially. This all due to his inspiration and leadership. One of the greatest gifts he gave us, fulfilling our desires to celebrate his Vyas Puja live in Washington DC. It happened to be August 14, 2023. This is his English calendar birthday. Guru Maharaj said, "This is not a Vyas Puja." I said, "Guru Maharaj, we will celebrate as your Guru Puja." He had made so much restrictions when we started organizing the program at least 2 to 4 weeks ago. We start planning, we thought Guru Maharaj will agree, but he never said yes and never said no also. So in the last few weeks, under the leadership of Janardhan Maharaj, we organized, and by Krishna's arrangement, all the disciples, most of the disciples who are fortunate soul, happened to be in Washington DC in the last really Guru Puja we call, but for us it was really Vyas Puja live, because we had dreamed to have Guru Maharaj to have nice Vyas Puja live in Washington, capital of the world. So that desire Guru Maharaj fulfilled in the last year when he came to Washington DC. We did not know it would be his last Vyas Puja with us in person. For the last 10 years, Guru Maharaj suffered physically. I had the opportunity to assist him closely during his visit to DC. I accompanied him to various doctors, but later on I realized something profound. He was not going to take the treatment from them, actually he was going to bless them. After visiting them all, he will laughingly, jokingly says, "Well, now I have finished my doctor darshan in Washington for 1 year, I'll come back in next year." He preached them, he gave them prasadam, he gave Bhagavad Gita book. Whenever he had chance, he encouraged the doctors or those coming in contact with him to please them, to give some Krishna consciousness. During his last visit in 2023, I remember one incident. We took him to a radiological test. He wanted to have his bone strong or not, even though his bone was strong, I know that. He says, "Let's meet, can you take me to the radiologist office and get some DEXA scan?" I said, "Sure." So we organized. Last minute he came there. After the test was going on, there's a lady technician, white American, and he started talking to her. And Guru Maharaj, in a few minutes I realized this looks like he's giving initiations to her. He started first, says, "Do you know Hare Krishna mantra?" And she says, "No." And so, "I'm going to repeat, you can follow with me." And she started Hare Krishna, she was telling Hare Krishna, she was not understanding because Guru Maharaj's voice was a little bit weak the last few years. But finally, he completed the whole mantra, she repeated the whole mantra. Finally he said that, "Do you have pen?" I said, "Yes, Guru Maharaj." "Can you write down the whole mantra?" So I wrote down the whole Hare Krishna mantra, and Guru Maharaj gave it to her as a little chit of Hare Krishna mantra. This shows how compassion he was about every living entities and so Guru Maharaj also told me that make sure that you give her some Bhagavad Gita or books and be in touch with her. Guru Maharaj, I did not follow your instructions, I will try to do it. Though the last 10 years I witnessed Guru Maharaj's health, especially slowly I realized that his health is getting affected. Guru Maharaj was very conscious about his health because he wanted to serve Prabhupada. He did not want to know all the disciples that how bad health he has. He was always keeping his health very confidential. Don't want to discuss with a lot of devotees. People, some doctors ask me sometimes, did he have Parkinson's disease? I said, Guru Maharaj, people asking me, what should I say? And he says, just tell that Guru Maharaj has some weakness, and that's all. So, anyway, Guru Maharaj was very concerned about his health, but he did not want to show or tell other people know how bad health problem that he has. Though his body was weak, his enthusiasm was never touched. He was fighting every day by regular walking, getting physical therapy, speech therapy, and did every possible thing so he could continue to serve Srila Prabhupada. Dear Guru Maharaj, we, your disciples and well-wishers, will deeply miss you. Your disappearance is an immeasurable loss to all of us personally and ISKCON at large. Please continue to shower your mercy upon me. Keep me at your lotus feet. Please forgive me all my offenses that I committed at your lotus feet. Srila Bhagavad Pad ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All Gurus to assemble. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I will speak something later on, maybe next year, about my personal interactions with him. Also, how he deals with the different doctors and how he has preached his blessing and give to all the human beings. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Advaita Acharya Prabhu. I would like to call upon if Shyam Krishna Prabhu is here. Oh, Shyam Krishna Prabhu, and then Urmila Mataji, and then Sura Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Both Shyam Krishna Prabhu and Advaita Acharya Prabhu, both of them are doctors. So they travel with us along with Guru Maharaj. Before I used to travel alone, just by myself. But then the last few years, it's about 6 of us, big entourage. We have a doctor from Russia, Yadunandan Prabhu, his personal physical therapist. We have Ishani, we have Paramakaruna Prabhu, myself, we have Vishnunam Prabhu, we have Garuda Prabhu. I mean, we practically take over the whole plane. Radhika Raman, Gopal Prabhu, Gopal Hari, so many. So you can just imagine our entourage. And Guru Maharaj never ever used a wheelchair. He refused to use a wheelchair.
Hare Krishna to all Vaishnavis and seniors and junior devotees and disciples. Advaita Acharya is not only doctor like me, but he's also my brother. So there may be some repetitions because we had same experience with Gurudev for last 40 plus years. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Gopal Krishna Goswami Namine Prabhupadasya Sahityam Ya Prakashi Vitiryacha Pracharam Krutavan Sadhu Bhagavad Padaya Te Namaha. नमो शुभदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषणवादी पाश्चात्य देशपाणे जय गुरुदेव जय प्रभुपाद. My dear Gurudev, all glories to you and to Srila Prabhupada. Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances at your divine lotus feet on your very first Tirobhav Punyatithi. We all disciples, including my humble self, are very fortunate having you as our eternal Father and spiritual guide. You are one of the most dedicated and committed disciples of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. You are very dear to His Divine Grace, and He had so much trust and faith in you from the very early days of ISKCON that He made you. So much so that rightfully everyone has called you Prabhupada's man. And there was a magazine back to Godhead with the big article of Prabhupada's man. And it's rightfully, Gurudev, you deserved it. You continue to serve ISKCON till your last breath, regardless of so many obstacles and health-related issues that Advaita Acharya mentions briefly. And as we know, when he left the physical body in Dehradun, he was fighting until the last. He did not have to go to Dehradun. Many disciples and well-wishers told him not to go, but he said, no, it is my meeting, I have to go. So that shows his commitment until the last breath is very truly. Prabhupada expressed his wish for having a nice temple in nation's capital, and see how many temples he has erected in Washington, Delhi metropolitan area. 18 at least, as I know. 21? 21. See, I cannot even keep up the numbers. Not only that, but if you analyze so many temples in the world, he has some role, indirect or direct, inspiring the temple. Even Potomac Temple, Baltimore Temple. I think the temple in Kenya, and so many places in the temple erected, he has major role to play. No wonder TOVP every yesterday they come out and have a big marathon of collecting the donations. That is all his dedication. So his role is everywhere. You are the key persons for developing the Bombay project, Vrindavan, Mayapur, and now TOVP, as I mentioned. That has nothing but praise and gratitude for you from everyone, including your God brothers and God sisters. 50 years ago, Prabhupada wished for having a nice temple in Kurukshetra. And look at now what I heard, some of us will be visiting after the Tirobhav ceremony, Kurukshetra, that how large and how huge it has been. I was fortunate to visit a couple of years ago, just before he left the planet. As per your pranam mantra, Ya Prakasha Vitiryacha, you are the leading force in printing and publishing and distributing Prabhupada's books all over the world, including unfriendly country like Soviet Union. He was the first person to go to Soviet Union, the very conservative, orthodox country. Prabhupada called you sadhu long before you took formal sannyas, and that was mentioned, I think, Jai Govind Prabhu, mentioned about him being sadhu, when he gives all the money of his first check to Prabhupada, right? So no wonder he was addressed as sadhu. So he's a sadhu from very beginning, not just because now he took sannyas and now he's sadhu. No, you were born sadhu. And we can see that in book distribution, House of Delhi stands number 1 for many, many years. Gurudev, you were also the great counselor and problem solver for ISKCON worldwide. And I think Jai Govind Prabhu mentioned earlier, that whenever he came, he is busy just calling different countries. So can you imagine? He's so busy calling different countries, even though he may be in Vancouver, or he may be in DC, or he could be in Moscow. Because he's always trying to solve the issue of the ISKCON. Prabhu has told his disciple that ISKCON is my body, and I do not want any part of my body to be separated from me, like an even finger. And I witnessed in mid-80s there were crises related to the New Vrindavan temple, and ISKCON was almost splitting. And I know we took him to New Vrindavan, and we took him to Washington DC and met the leaders, and he worked so hard for the ISKCON to remain united. And that is his instruction for us too, that never leave ISKCON. So, for the dispute and division of ISKCON. Your compassion, caring nature, your Sakshat Karunamurti, many people have mentioned it, I don't want to repeat it. You received care, you gave the care, you received even your junior God brothers, other disciples, not your own disciples. Whenever you visited Delhi or Vrindavan area, and if you were there, you always cared for them personally. And there are a lot of examples, somebody can mention it. And you gave the same respect, no discrimination. Gurudev, I am one of the most insignificant disciples, but you have showered your causeless mercy upon me and my entire family, starting since 1982, as Advaita Acharya mentioned. And particularly, you have nurtured me like a mother taking care of a baby. And I can give you one example. When he first time visited Washington DC in 84, and he stayed with us, and in the morning, we will do little Deepak Aarti and put that Hari Om Sharan's cassette, Jai Radha Ras Bihari. That was our Mangala Aarti. We did not know Samsara Dhavanam. So, my son was doing the lamp. Advaita Acharya, I think, had some drum. And he said, okay, let's do the Mangala Aarti. So he expected us to sing Samsara Dhavanam, and none of us knew. He said, you don't know? Okay, I'll sing and you follow. Guess what? We could not even follow. He was so shocked that we were not even able to follow Samsara Dhavanam. So that's the kind of disciple he had it from our family. Completely ignorant, completely in dark, required attention at every moment, like baby and walks needs some help, same way, and that has not stopped. Personally, me, Gurudev never chastised me. He always treated me like in a respectful manner. But one time he said, your brother's not really preaching. That was his only one complaint. You are not preaching. So guess I give the example, and it's a divine arrangement. December 1923, I spent a lot of days in Delhi temple. So I visited 3 times. And in the morning, one of his servants asked me, can you give a Bhagavatam class tomorrow? I said, me giving Bhagavatam class? With all this stuff, Sakshi sitting in front of me, and what am I going to say? So kind of I said no. I didn't say no, but I said, I don't think I can really do it. So Guru Maharaj got the message that, I'm not giving Bhagavatam class. So next day, same thing. He said, Guru Maharaj has asked you to give class in Hindi in the evening, Gita class. I said, Hindi? I am Gujarati, I know a little bit English, but I have to give in Hindi? I don't converse in Hindi. But now it is almost like an order. So I gave the class. I don't think it was that very good class, but fortunately the audience was like local people, not really devotees, so that was okay again. But look at his karuna and that this guy, if I have any complaint, is preaching. So after she left last year, month later or 2 months later, temple president in Potomac, Anand Munda Devi Mata, approached me. Prabhuji, I like you to give Hindi class on Sunday. Not the regular class somebody will be doing it, but I want you to do Hindi class. I said, why she wants to ask me Hindi class all of a sudden? So I said same thing, Hindi is not my language, but I'll try. So I gave the class. Then she said, can you give the class next Sunday too? I was hoping that she wants to start Hindi class parallel and some other people will be giving class too. So guess what? Now I am the regular Hindi class giver in Potomac Temple since then. And I only can relate to what he did to me in Delhi in 23 December. So this is his Param Karuna. And I don't know what to say. Gurudev, please accept my koti pranam at your divine lotus feet and keep me as a small particle of the dust at your divine lotus feet and continue showering your mercy that you have done in last 44 plus years. I will be missing you so much. It brings really tears in our eyes even though we are celebrating that he is not here. For me, I lost my sister Visakha in Vrindavan, and now I lost my spiritual master in Delhi. So these two places is really lot of mental adjustment even to come and visit. But thank you, Hare Krishna, for listening to me.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shyam Krishna Prabhu. One time Guru Maharaj told me, take all the opportunity to preach. I don't think it is only for me, but it should be for all of us here. Take all the opportunity to preach. And I never forget that instruction, and I'll tell you more later, things that he told me that's very difficult to do, especially when preaching. So now, Urvila Mataji, and then be followed by Sura Prabhu and Varaha Mataji. Just for your information, Sura Prabhu is one of the trustees that Guru Maharaj, they bought a land just near the Krishna Balaram Mandir for Guru Maharaj Samadhi, but somehow he doesn't want to have it. And Guru Maharaj donated the land for us here in Krishna Balaram Mandir for specific use, and he agreed upon that. And Sura Prabhu was instrumental in expediting the transfer of the land to Krishna Balaram Mandir. And soon enough, we'll be having a structure there which will be meant for devotee care, especially for those who dedicate their lives in the mission of Srila Prabhupada's movement. Hare Krishna. We'll give you more information about that. Thank you, Surya Prabhu.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnaya Bhutale Srimate Gopal Krishna Goswami Tinamni Prabhupadasya Sahityam Ya Prakashavate Jam Katvan Sadhu Bhagavad Te Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Prabhupadasya Sahityam Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine. I've been hearing a lot of great devotees. Bhakti Yoga Prabhu I met in America, Advaita Acharya Prabhu I met, Sham Krishna Prabhu I met. So I met Guru Maharaj in 1985 in Delhi when temple used to be in Greater Kailash. And I had just started college. And I had no idea how to behave. Absolutely no idea. So whatever I am today, materially, spiritually, whatever it is, it's due to the mercy of Guru Maharaj. So whatever qualification or whatever qualities I have, it's due to the mercy of Guru Maharaj. So I met Guru Maharaj in 1985, and back then there were only 20 devotees in temple. So we were short of devotees. So every devotee who came more than twice was pounced by every single devotee to become full-time. That was very important back then. So we started coming to temple every Sunday, and we came 3 Sundays, and suddenly we knew everybody was like preaching to us, become vegetarian, do this, do that. And we were like scared because we were very young. After 3 months, one of the Matajis so kindly took us to Guru Maharaj, actually my oldest sister Purnima. She went and she offered obeisances, and the first thing Guru Maharaj says, many lifetimes you have used it for yourself, give this life to Krishna. And we were like, we had no idea what does it mean even to give the life to Krishna. So we came back, but we thought there was something serious in it. And we technically started avoiding Guru Maharaj because we knew this is something serious. So after 6 months, he noticed that we are avoiding, so he sent someone to bring us over there. So we went, and he said it again. We were like, okay. And then we became vegetarian and, whole 9 yards of it. And then August 1986, Guru Maharaj told us to come to Bombay for Vyas Puja. We were like, okay. So we went to Bombay for Vyas Puja, and we were only attending Vyas Puja. That's all of what we knew. And the next day of Vyas Puja was initiation. And Bombay, you cannot visit Juhu temple until you go to Juhu beach. So we got up next morning and we went to beach at 6 o'clock or so. And then we went to beach and we were chanting. I don't know what we are chanting, or we were enjoying beach or whatever it was. Suddenly some devotees came there. Someone is looking for you. We were like, we don't know anyone in Bombay. We're just visiting. And so here comes a brahmachari with like 30 beads on his arm and asking our name, and he says, is your name this? Is your name this? And we said, yes. He said, you're getting initiated at 10 o'clock. I was like, what? And we're like, and what is initiation first of all? Please, can you explain? So he's explaining initiation to us, and we're like, we had no idea what you're talking about anyway. And then he said, Guru Maharaj Pranam Mantra? We're like, no idea. So he gave a piece of paper, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, we were memorizing Guru Maharaj Pranam Mantra to be said at 10 o'clock in the morning, instead of chanting our rounds. So anyway, finally we go to initiation, we sat over there, and then we got up, we went off for the obeisances to Guru Maharaj, and I was whispering very slow because I knew I was making a mistake. And suddenly he said, bit louder, and whatever I remember, I forgot completely. And he's actually laughing at my dilemma, that here she is, she's getting initiated, and she doesn't even know Pranam Mantra. Anyway, that was like really hilarious. So fast forward, he called us in the afternoon, and he asked me, he said, did you like your name? I was like, absolutely not. And he's like, why? I said, Maharaj, half the women has Urmila name in India. Every time I'll say Urmila, I will have to explain this is my initiated name. And then he smiled and he said, maybe I can change it then. I said, publicly you have said my name, so how will you change now? He said, I'll make announcement in Mangalarti next day. I said, no, it's done deal now, So he just smiled and he said, and then he took time to explain who Urmila is, what the character of Urmila is. And he said, you should actually, follow those Urmila's character. And I was like, I don't know how much I follow, but that was his way of saying that, you have to come up to some standard. And right after the initiation, I went back home, and my sister stayed in temple. So by December, he asked me, he said, what is your plan? I said, I would like to join. He said, okay, pack the bags. So I moved to Bombay also. And said, when we came to Bombay, you know how every devotee wants to go to Vrindavan, even though we went from Delhi to Bombay. And then we requested Guru Maharaj, we would like to go to Vrindavan. He said, not now, maybe later. And we were like, okay, we forgot about it, it was like Maharaj said it, we heard it. And then after 2 years, one day he called us and he said, here are 2 tickets on Rajdhani, and you go to Vrindavan, and I booked a room for you for 3 days, and here is 700 rupees. Go to Vrindavan and come back. And we were like, how does he even remember after 2 years? But this was a very pleasant surprise for us, and he made all the arrangements. We went to Vrindavan, it was wonderful. And then fast forward, second initiation, after 2 years, he called us, he said, you're getting second initiated. We were like, okay. So we got second initiated, and then he called us. And first question he asked me, do you know how to cook? I said, no. He said, get to the kitchen. You have to learn to cook. So he put me in the kitchen to cook Raj Bhoga with Vararupa Mataji, and that's how I ended up learning cooking. And when I finished learning cooking at 6 months, he actually, during that time, he was looking for a typist who knew typing. And back then we used to use the manual typewriter, which makes so much noise, But then by that time we had already bought electronic typewriter, and then I think we had a teeny tiny computer which like working in a DOS, and it was huge and it was like awful. But anyway, so I by default became his typist. And I used to type letters for him, and many times he used to tell me, and I don't know how many of you know, we have 2 god sisters who are air hostesses. One used to work for Air India and one used to work for Indian Airlines. And so the one who worked for Air India, she used to travel international. And Maharaj would have letters and letters and letters and letters for that girl to take it. I remember one time he called me 9 in the morning. I was in Prasadam Hall, just sat down to eat. And I just took first morsel, and the servant came and said, Maharaj is calling you, so much typing. I was like, can I just eat? He said, no, you cannot eat. I was like, okay. So I put the thing back and I said, I haven't eaten anything. And I rushed back, and he's like so much in anxiety. He said, Urmila, we have to type 50 letters today. I said, okay, Guru Maharaj. And he said, and she's leaving at midnight. I was like, okay. So for whole day, from morning 9 o'clock till 7 o'clock, Maharaj dictated 50 letters for devotees in Australia. And we just did it, letter after letter after letter. And then he told me, he said, go give it to her so that she doesn't forget. I said, okay. So I went to give it to her, and when I came back, and he was like so sorry for me, he said, are you tired? I said, no, not really. He said, are you hungry? I said, no, what can I tell him, that I haven't eaten anything since morning? And he said, you're not hungry? I said, no. You're not tired? No. What are you going to do? I said, you'll probably go to Aarti. He said, you want to come to house program? I was like, sure. And then he said, you have 5 minutes to get ready. So I went quickly, put the tilak on, and came back. And we sat in the car, like I don't remember where I sat. Maharaj was sitting, and there were 2 devotees sitting. I was sitting in the front. And we were going, when you go from Juhu, when you take a turn, there's a hotel there, Sun and Sand. And we saw there was a fire going on top of the hotel. And we were all excited. Oh, look, Guru Maharaj, there's fire. And Guru said, and he gave a 40-minute class on Dukhale Shashvatam by the time we reached that person's house for house program. It was just so sweet. We were just sitting there, and it's like a personal Bhagavatam going on, So some of these things are like so, most of the time we forgot he's our spiritual master. He's like father, he's like teaching us what to do, how to remember things. So I did typing, cooking, anything else. So I also took care of some of his friends, some of his guests who came to see. So one Sunday he calls me in the morning at 9 o'clock and he said, Urmila, I just met one of my cousins in the flight. I came yesterday on. I said, okay, Guru Maharaj. And he said, she's Mrs. Behel. I said, okay, Guru Maharaj. And he said, I want you to take her to temple and then take her to Govinda's and then I'll come for prasadam with her. I said, okay, Guru Maharaj. And then he said, do not ask any personal questions before I join this school. I was like, okay, Guru Maharaj. And then he said it again. And then he said it third time. I said, yes, Guru Maharaj, I won't ask any questions. And so we were walking, and then, of course, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. How is it possible I won't ask a question? So I asked her, I said, so how was Guru Maharaj when he was young? And I think apparently he stayed many years with them because they were like his father's younger brother's daughter. So he lived with them because his father was in the Navy, so he traveled a lot. So I was asking, she said, no, he was always like this, never complained anything. And so we came back, and then I called Guru Maharaj. I said, Maharaj, she's in a restaurant, so Maharaj said, sit with her, I'll come. And then first he asked me, did you ask any questions? I said, absolutely not, Guru Maharaj. There was nothing to ask, and he just smiled and said, okay, that's good. And so, all of us talk about how Guru Maharaj was so merciful, and never got angry, and never scolded anyone. I guess I'm an exception. There was not even a day when I didn't get scolded. Every single day. The day I didn't get scolded was the day I could not digest my food. So every single day Guru Maharaj would say, you didn't laugh properly, you didn't sit properly, you didn't walk properly, you didn't do this, you left temple early, you were late in this and late in that. So I got many, many scoldings during my stay in Bombay especially. I remember one time Guru Maharaj was going to Canada, so whenever Guru Maharaj travels somewhere, most of these flights are like middle of the night flights, and he always had to stay around in case he needs something. So I was there, and that time Guru Maharaj asked me to move to Canada. And I was like, no, I'm not happening, Guru Maharaj, I'm not going to Canada. And so we went back and forth, and he said, no, you should go. And he wanted me to go to Montreal. Apparently at that point there were so many ladies over there, And I was adamant, no, I'm not going. And he said, no, you should go. No, I'm not going. No, you should go. No, I'm not going. You should go. So we went back and forth and went and back and forth and this and that. And then he even told me, he said, here is 250 rupees, make the passport. I was like, oh, okay. And then finally he had it, just before he was leaving for airport. He said, actually I need to ask a question. I was like, really? And then he said, I want to determine, are you my guru or I am your guru? Am I listening to you or you should listen to me? I said, yes, Guru Maharaj, I'm going tomorrow to get my passport and everything. So that was one of the things. It was like he was push, do this. And the one thing I realized that if he says something, you do it, he will never back down. You have to back down. You like it, you don't like it. He says you do something, you have to do it. And so in this case also finally I had to bow down and went to, get the visa. And when I didn't get the visa, I came back. I said, Guru Maharaj, I didn't get the visa. He said, I knew you were not sincere in going. That's why you didn't get the visa. I tried, Guru Maharaj. So back then in Bombay, there weren't so many devotees. We were like so few of us. We literally had to do everything. That was in 85, 86. And I remember one time we were sitting in Bhakti Kala Kshetra office. I don't know how many of you have seen. It's a very unique office where if you're sitting there, your back is towards the door. And the person sitting on the seat is looking at the door. So we were 6 or 5 of us were there. Varun Mataji was there, I was there, Amrita was there, Romapad was there. And we were having very heated discussion, ready to be the blows, because Romapad Prabhu was suggesting that we should change Guru Maharaj's name, which rhymes with the South Indian name. I don't know what that means, like he wanted to add some M somewhere or A somewhere. I don't know, we were going back each other, And so this went on for like 15, 20 minutes, and suddenly we realized there's something wrong here in the atmosphere. So we turned around and looked at the door, and we saw Guru Maharaj standing there and smiling. So we all bowed down, and got up to think that he's going to solve the problem now. And we are waiting, like he'll say now, and he'll say now. And suddenly he said, very interesting conversation, continue it. And he just walked out. And we were like looking at each other like, okay, nothing solved here, And so many of these incidents were like, encounters with Guru Maharaj were like so loving that I guess you would do anything. Maharaj would say, jump. Like I remember Janardhan Maharaj was giving class one time and he said, if your Guru asks you to jump, you don't have to ask anything, just ask how high. And I think that's how I felt when I was in the temple and doing service for Guru Maharaj. So I cook and clean. And I remember when Guru Maharaj used to travel, whenever he went, he used to take a big stack of these paper tissues. And he come, when someone who dropped Guru Maharaj and came back, he would have so many paper tissues for different devotees. This one for you, this one for you, this one for you. We had stacks and stacks of these paper tissues. One-liners and few words from Guru Maharaj. We used to wait for it. Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you? I got one. And some people say, I got three. So it was really like we used to wait for those things. So I remember when I got married, Guru Maharaj told me, okay, it's time to get married. So I found a boy and we got married. So after a few years, I asked him if I could move to US. And he said, yeah, you have 5 years. We were like, okay, yeah, 5 years, we are going to go, become billionaire and come back. And so we went 5 years and we made not a penny. Not a penny. And after 5 years, Guru Maharaj said, okay, Urmila, time to come back. And I'm like, hasn't made a penny, Guru Maharaj. He said, okay, you have 5 more years. And we were like, okay. So we stayed 5 more years and then we became, went back to college, we got education. So I became a certified public accountant from USA. And first person I called was Guru Maharaj. I said, Guru Maharaj, guess what? I became CPA. He said, oh, very good, very good. And then he says to me, stay simple. And I was like, okay, all right. And he said, be simple. Since you gave up and become a brahmachari, now Krishna is giving you, don't be so puffed up, don't be so proud. And he was always saying that to me. And now I realize I must be puffed up and I must be proud. That's why Guru Maharaj had to say this over and over and over and over, One thing, I'm from a corporate world, so I always looked at Guru Maharaj for corporate world. Whenever I spoke to Guru Maharaj, whenever I met him, whenever I came from it, and I used to tell him I took this one, that one. And then one time he asked me, which one you like? I said, I like British, I like Swiss. He said, how do you always get cheap tickets then, Urmila? Can you tell me I can buy cheap tickets? Like I travel economy, Guru Maharaj. And he just laughed at me. And then he would always ask me, he said, are you doing the same job or you change your job? It's like, no, it's a different job, Guru Maharaj. So in 2014, when I came to India for Vyas Puja, I'll say one more thing. And he saw me and he says to me, he said, I want you to buy a house. And I'm like, huh? What? I'm here 2 weeks. How do I buy a house in 2 weeks? And since he wanted, I was like, okay, I'll try. So we went, staying in the guest house for 2 weeks. And he would call me 3 times a day. Did you find it? Did you find it? Did you find it? But in guest house, you don't have a phone in the rooms. So if someone calls you, you actually have to come to reception. So he called me first day, I came to reception. Then he called me in the afternoon, I wasn't there. Then he called me again in the evening, I wasn't there. And next day he says to me, why don't you have a phone? I said, Maharaj, I'm here for 2 weeks. Why would I have a phone? He said, who in the right mind do not have a phone? I was like, I don't know. He said, get the phone tomorrow morning, first thing. I was like, okay. So I asked him what he is. I said, how do I get a phone? He said, you can't get a phone. It will take you 2 weeks. I was like, huh? Now what? So I called my Verizon in America. I said, please start my phone. I'm getting scolded for this, So he started my phone and immediately I told him, I said, okay, Maharaj, you can call me on this number now, he's working in India. And he was so happy. He said, one should have a phone all the time. It's easy to communicate. I was like, okay, Guru Maharaj. So I've been very fortunate. So in 2016, Guru Maharaj again reminded me to come back to India. So in 2016, tail end of it, November, I called Guru Maharaj. I said, Maharaj, is the offer still open for me to move back to India? And he said, you're coming? I said, I would like to. He said, are you sure? I'm like, and then I started doubting myself, am I sure? I said, yeah, I think I'm sure. And then he says to me, have you quit the job? I said, yes. Have you sold the house? I said, no, that I haven't. Okay. And then he said, okay, come. So then we came to India, and then as soon as we landed, there was everybody. Are you the one? I was like, I don't know what crime I've committed, but I don't know if I'm the one. He said, no, Maharaj, just called to find out if you are here. And Maharaj told me, he said, I will not believe it until I see you in India. I was like, okay, Guru Maharaj. And so he came, and he was very pleased to see us in India. And he told us, he said, Rumla, you have made enough, whatever you have done, now it's time to do full-time service. And that is how he allowed us to stay in Delhi. And I'm very, very thankful to Guru Maharaj that he pushed me hard to move back to India. Because these 8 years, since 2017 to 2023, is the best years of my life. Maharaj was in Delhi. COVID was a blessing in disguise because he didn't go anywhere. He was right there in Delhi. We would see Guru Maharaj like 5 or 6 times a day. Any corner we turned, Guru Maharaj was there. He will walk, we will go up to see him, we will go down, we will see him. And this was the best time of my life. So I'm very grateful to Guru Maharaj that he pushed me to move back to India. And I hope he continue to just push me in spiritual life, and hopefully I continue to stay here. And I want a blessing from all of you that I stay in the association of his beloved disciples and, stay in his until my last breath and serve Guru Maharaj as he wishes me to serve. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavad Pad ki.
Haribo. Thank you, Urmila Mataji. So there is no little. We should not take it for granted. Any instructions coming from the spiritual master, we should take it as our life and soul. No little instruction. They're all very important instructions. And if we follow wholeheartedly, rest assured that we will be in the best position. Guru Maharaj ki. So now I would like to request Surah Prabhu. Yes, sir. Last week we saved the best for the last, or the last for the best, up till 2 o'clock. And Barahamataji also. You want to be there together? I can have another chair there. Okay? Barahamataji also, please proceed towards the stage. And Nitai, there is only one chair. I need 2 chairs there. Hare Krishna. Just remember, we're going to have this recollections, memories, glorifications of Guru Maharaj this evening also, starting at 4:30, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. Yes, and tomorrow also 2 more sessions. And just to remind you as well, on the way out, we have Hansa Gokul Prabhu, a dear God brother from Dubai. He has many, many items there concerning Guru Maharaj's different items. We have 20 different types of photos, 3 different photos with frame, 3 types of fiber footprints, 1 type of Pancha Dhatu footprint, a small booklet about Guru Maharaj. So just on the way out, I think, yes, right there. It's right there in the corner. Hansa Gokul Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Sura Prabhu, you may speak as you like, but not until 6 o'clock.
I thought that I'm, free from the chastisements. But I don't know, my brothers still continue to chastise me. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. My god brothers, god sisters, uncles, if there are any here, and all the Brajavasis who are here, stationed for many years, my pranams to all of you, and pranams to all my sannyasi god brothers, and thank you for allowing me to speak. Though we had a wonderful journey, I was in UP, and we had a wonderful darshan of Kashi Vishwanath ji. After that we went to Ayodhya, and from Ayodhya to Vrindavan. And in fact, I was not going to come here, but it happens to be my birthday today.
Happy birthday.
So the best treat for the birthday is to glorify your spiritual master. So I didn't want to avoid this. Anyway, I will start. Thank you very much for being here and patiently hearing wonderful God brothers, God sisters. They have a treasure of things to open up, and it's very nice. Just one thing I wanted to tell you. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj never wanted any glorification from his disciples, as I remember, all his life. And he would always shut our mouth anytime we talk about something good about him. And this is my little experience. So, Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurulabdam Yenai Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pradishaya Bhutale Srimati Gopal Krishna Goswami Namani Prabhupada Sasaitamya Prakasha Vitiracha Pratharam Kirtavan Sadhu Bhagavad Padayate Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Thank you very much. thank you very much for clubbing us together on the stage, also for speaking. My brothers and sisters, my connection to Maharaj goes way back in 1978. I graduated from a film institute and came to Mumbai. Lord was very kind that I had to be in the office of Srila Prabhupada, and I had the best of the associations with the God brothers of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Whether he was a Giriraj Swami Maharaj, whether Sridhar Swami Maharaj, and many other people who have been in Prabhupada's office. Nobody ever preached to me to become any devotee. It's the mercy of my mother and my parents who brought me in an atmosphere of spirituality from a young age. Getting up in the morning was not a new treat to my ears or eyes, because I used to get up in the minus temperature of 10 degrees also. I used to get up in the morning at 5 o'clock. If I would not get up, my father would pour cold water on my head and I would make faces. But the sanskar which my parents gave, I think because of that blessing, I reached to the office of Srila Prabhupada 1978, 10th October, after I graduated from a film institute. Chitakar Prabhu was the best friend of mine, and he made me to stay in the guest house in those days when it was only just 1 year past Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, and very hardly any person used to come to Juhu at that time. So they allowed me to stay. I had some few thousand rupees I handed over to them. From 1978 till I got initiated in 82, I could see the rise of many
sannyasis and fall of many sannyasis, and many people, brahmacharis, got married and they left their responsibilities and went to the Western world, and those who were Western devotees, they left their responsibilities and went to the West. But my association deepened when somebody handed over me Haridas Prabhu, Bada Haridas Prabhu, handed me the beads of Srila Prabhupada and the bead bag of Srila Prabhupada and the gold buttons of Srila Prabhupada. That's way back in 1978, January, 79 January. And I was so blessed that these wonderful sannyasis, devotees, used to take care of me. And they allowed me, Giriraj Swami, Sridhar Swami, Chitakar Prabhu, Vedvyas Prabhu, they are no more there. But I continued my professional life. I came to become a filmmaker, and I didn't want to join early. I wanted to strive for what I had come for. But I used to love to come early in the morning to Prabhupada's office at Guru Puja time, be there for some time and leave for my profession. And come back in the evening at 7 p.m. for Sandhya Arati. That was the point where I used to dance with the devotees and I used to sweat. And we used to cool off these sweats in a small Govindas which was then. And then all the sannyasis will come, and I had a privilege of serving them. My dear friends, those who are new devotees, they must know the history, what we underwent in ISKCON in those days. And there were so many devotees or so many temples or so many things there. It was only Hyderabad, Mayapur, Bombay, and that's it. And then slowly the temples started popping up in every city. And I used to keep on coming, and by the mercy of Radha Rasa Bihari, within a short time I was professionally very known in Bollywood. But I kept on coming to the temple in the evenings and eating prasadam with the devotees and with Gopal Krishna Das then. And I used to serve all the sannyasis, and Maharaj also had a wonderful son. And I had the privilege of seeing him in those days. But I used to serve all the time. Whenever I used to sign a contract, Giriraj Swami Maharaj would tell me, okay, what happened today? And then I would come, because I had not much Bollywood friends in the initial stage. And then my friends were all the devotees. So that's how I groomed in the Hare Krishna land. And of course, after Srila Prabhupada, Kirtananda Swami was there. He would initiate people. But somehow I have no idea why I was so inimical to him, and I never wanted to be his disciple. And that proved later on right, that I was very right. So then happened, then everybody would force me, oh, you are supposed to get initiated. And you have been chanting since 78, 79, 80, 81. Then came the time when his Maharaj got Diksha from none other than Kirtananda Swami in Hare Krishna land. And he was nominated the initiating guru. He went to Mayapur, came back in 82. So everybody said, Giriraj Maharaj pushed me, others pushed me. So I said, okay. So I was I think second batch of Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj's batch, and I don't remember on which day I got initiated, but it was a rainy season, and obviously I can remember it was Radha Ashtami or something like that. So since, my dear friends, my dear brothers and sisters, so in 1982, I got initiated from His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Listen this. Listen this. Being in Bollywood, you have all the attires clean, fragrant, and you always look very beautiful. Because you're always with the Bollywood actors, this, that, professionals. When it came to initiation, I had long hair. स्वाभाविक है, आप हॉलीवुड में रहते हैं तो आपका सब बाल वाल खाल तो ठीक ही रहेगा। तो सभी ने, यहाँ पर कितने हिंदी वासी हैं? All of you can, okay. And how many people can not understand, Hindi? Very few, okay. So Giriraj Swami said, you go and you have to get initiated because you have been here for a long time. So I went to Maharaj He said, you are going to take initiation like this? I was with a pant and shirt and the long hair. बाल को थोड़ा छोटा कर देंगे आप? मैंने बोला ठीक है महाराज. मैं बार बार वहीं पे था, मैं बाहर चला गया, बार बार से कटिंग वगैरह करवा के आया. तो फिर महाराज के पास गया. मैंने बोला ये ठीक है महाराज? बोले लगता है आप सिंसियर नहीं है दीक्षा लेने के लिए. Sridhar Swami, you want me to give him the initiation and he's not cutting the hair. महाराज अभी तो करके आया हूँ, अभी मेरे को तो मैं प्रोफेशन, आई वॉज इन प्रोफेशन. थोड़ा और करके आ जाइए. फिर चला गया मैं बार्बर के पास. मैंने बोला भाई थोड़ा सा मिलिट्री कट कर दे इसको, आज महाराज हमारे. आई वेंट बैक. Then again I went to Maharaj and I said that this is okay Maharaj because I am still in my profession. थोड़ा सा और कर दीजिए दीक्षा. ये पीछे सिक्का किधर है आपका? तो सिक्का नहीं दिख रहा था. Then again I went and did completely zero cutting of my hair and then approached him. He said, yes, you are going to get initiated tomorrow morning and be ready. Of course, I was remembering Maharaj's Pranam Mantra. It was not like Urmila Mataji that I had to catch up the same day, but we had started doing it early, Pranam Mantra. So ultimately I got initiated. In 1982, in the month of July, Radha Ashtami time, and from that day till he was in this planet, most of the time I have got chastisements. Sometimes people say that he has not chastised me, he was very nice to me. He was never nice to me. I don't know why. Maybe because I was so proud of my little abilities, but he always chopped it then and there. After I got initiated, Maharaj said, when are you going to become a full-time devotee? I was completely surprised. I never heard this word of full-time because I was thinking that I was doing whatever I was doing at the time for devotees or this and that, blah, 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 or giving my Lakshmi to the temple. Then, in the meantime, we had produced a film called Haridas Thakur film, for which I spent almost more than those days 80 to 90 lakhs of rupees, collected, did everything. So he said, when are you coming full time? I need you. I said, Maharaj, I have got 4 or 5 assignments in my hand. How do I close it? He said, I don't know. You just close it, you stop it then and there. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittite Korina Akhya. From the young age you have learned that not to defy your spiritual master. And you'll be very happy to know, my dear brothers and sisters, somehow that went in my head. And do you know what? He said that, okay, you do one thing. What time you go for your profession? I said, Maharaj, I go around early in the morning at 9 o'clock. And then what time you come back? I said that I come by 6, 7 o'clock. Can you start managing the restaurant? The Govindas managed a restaurant at the time. Prasanatma Prabhu, he must be here in Vrindavan now. So he was managing. He was the vice president then in Radharasi Bihari temple. And Maharaj pushed me into the restaurant. And my dear friends, like for 5 years, especially for these techies who only want to be in front of the computer and not do anything. I had to clean the kitchen, which was completely, covered by the workers in those days. 81, there was a strike of Tata Saman, and all the workers went away, and all the workers were in the restaurant itself, and they were cooking, smoking, doing any nonsense there. And it was the tense situation for the devotees then to see that how can we open the restaurant. And then were a group of devotees, brahmacharis, Narsingh Chaitanya Prabhu, Arjun Prabhu, and so many wonderful devotees who are in the West now, the whole bunch. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Bluetooth mode.
Ram Ram. So I left my assignments. My dear friends, I was a very famous film editor, producer and the director then those days. I had my own company. So Maharaj said that you stop it. I think that is the grace of a spiritual master. He wants to save you from going to hell. When he sees what situations you are, he saves you. This is the compassion of a great Vaishnava who looks upon you beyond what you do or what you can achieve. What you can achieve in the material world. It's very, very, very alluring, and it's very, it's very hardly you can hear anybody coming out of the film industry and trying to be the devotee. It's never heard of. Because the glamour is so much. Money, wine, women and wealth is so much, it is uncomparable. But if you get a special mercy of an acharya, a wonderful devotee like Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, even he can make swine into beautiful person. So in the material world, especially in the Bollywood, you see the material world is like that. Bollywood is like that. But a spiritual master like Gopal Krishna Maharaj, who is expert, he's daksha in engaging people in the service of his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In those days, there were very less Indians. There were a lot of Westerners. And he was very, very articulate in engaging. And I served in the restaurant. We used to clean the plates. I think sometimes maybe Urmila Mataji would also make chapatis inside the kitchen. I don't remember that. Both the sisters. And we used to lay down the tables, we used to clean the pots, we used to make chapatis, we used to serve, and we used to do whatever we had to do over there. From morning, 7 o'clock till 12 o'clock in the night, and we'll come back into the temple hall at 2:30 in the morning to do our japa. My dear friends, it's not so easy. It's not a cakewalk when you're taking the instructions of your spiritual master, and who has been one of the finest disciple in whole of ISKCON. One of the finest disciples. I don't know how you're going to digest it, how much experience you have, but yes, I have been there for almost about 48 years now, and his life has been very, very transparent. His life has been an epitome of all the disciples, the best in the world. His sadhana, his lectures, his articulative interviews, meeting the biggest professionals, businessmen, and so on and so forth. And all that, and yet keeping himself very humble in the big shots of his God brothers. I had never hangover of white, black, this, that in my life. Because my father was the greatest painter in Srinagar, and a lot of Westerners used to come to our home.
Bluetooth
All the
mode.
guns of the Western world, they will come to our home and they will practically, kiss the hand of my father, who was a great artist. So that's why when I came and I used to see how they behave, how they walk, how they talk, and if it was contrary, I will always report to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. This is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. He kept on shutting my mouth all the time. Never ever dared to say anything about the senior Vaishnavas. That's his quality. I remember once upon a time Bhagavan Maharaj came. He came to the restaurant, he saw the kitchen, and Maharaj was with him. Bhagavan Maharaj means he was he had accomplished Durban temple at the time, and he was a very powerful person. And I didn't pay obeisances to him. And in the kitchen, we're all standing in the kitchen. He was like, oh, what are you doing? This. I didn't pay obeisances. Bhagavan Maharaj left the old restaurant, door was closed. He came back. He said, no, you have no etiquettes at all, Surdas. You're not offering any obeisances to my god brother. I was completely shocked. And in the evening, after 7 o'clock, there was a court martial. The day's thing, if we will not do anything right, in the night time he will call, this person came, this person came, this person came, and he told me about this, he told me about that. And then I was completely disgusted, every time, everything is happening here. So this was his mood. After the initiation, after 6 months, I had a privilege to fly with His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj to Rajkot. When we reached to the Rajkot, Yashamati Nandan Prabhu then, with all the contingent of the devotees, Rajasuya, Yashamati Nandan, and so many other devotees were there to receive Maharaj. And when I came out of the plane, so I stood like this, like I was in my own hangover of my being in a Bollywood man. So Yashamati Nandan Prabhu was there and many other wonderful devotees. And thanks to my wonderful god sister, Vishakha Mataji, she was also there, a great lady. I love her for her dedication for spiritual master. That lady was running a Sankirtan bus at the time. Nowadays we become conscious of brahmacharis, ladies, this, that. She was heading the Sankirtan office, Sankirtan bus at the time, and they used to go to the villages. When I alighted when the plane we alighted from the plane and in the Rajkot, and I was just standing there, and he chastised me. He said, you're not offering obeisances to Yashamati Nandan Prabhu. He is the leader of Gujarat. At the time there was no temple. It was a small bungalow somewhere, and I had to take so much of chastisement. In those days, my dear brothers and sisters, we used to have a fantastic Vyasa Puja. We used to have fantastic reception for Maharaj at the airport. At least about 30, 40
devotees would go to the airport and receive him. We will like to decorate the cars with the flowers and this and that. So much of love and devotion from many, many wonderful devotees. He would always chastise. And my dear friends, I think I am made of his chastisement only. And the journey is on and on. I helped Kenya temple when there was nobody. Maharaj requested me. From restaurant I went to Bhakti Kalashetra in 1986. 86 my sister got married. I invited him to Srinagar for the first time. He had never visited Kashmir. Though his sister, one of the sisters, is married to a Kashmiri Pandit, but he had never gone there. And he stayed in our house then, 86, which was crowded with 500 people. He softly told me, Surdas, can you arrange my, accommodation, some nearby bungalow? I said, Maharaj, because you have so many guests to accommodate. I am a sannyasi.
I cannot be with them. I said, okay, Maharaj, we'll do that. The next moment I kept him in another house, big bungalow somewhere in our neighbors. And then he was hardly there, and then he would go along with me. There was Narsingh Chaitanya Prabhu, Nandu Prabhu, everybody knew from Radha Rasibari temple. He is no more, and some 2-3 more devotees. And they took the car and they went to see the Kashmir. And they said, oh, I have got a brother-in-law staying nearby here. I said, what is the address, Maharaj? It was just 2 minutes drive from my house. And he said, can I go there? And I said, Maharaj, you can take the vehicle. And I said that I have organized, should I tell this? After completing service, Seva in the Govindas for 5 years, from 80 to 86, my dear friends, I was supposed to go to Srinagar. My temple president at the time, Pun Brahma Prabhu, I don't know whether you know him or not. Pun Brahma Prabhu was the BBT person, manager at the time. I said that I have to go to my home. I have finished all my Lakshmi, which was in the bank and here and there for 7 years. Can I have some little funds? He said, take this 500 rupees. This for all brahmacharis who are now soaking in money. He said, 500 rupees. I was completely shocked. I traveled in my whole life. In the second is by plane. So I went to Maharaj. He said, oh, you're leaving tomorrow for your native place? I said, yes, Maharaj, you have to also come. So what, you will be busy with your own marriage of your sister. What are you going to do? I said, don't worry, Maharaj, we'll organize our fantastic program for you in Srinagar. He said, yes, you will do that. So where you will get the money? I said, you don't worry, money will come, Maharaj. I went back home, I prepared the posters and this and that. First time, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj in Srinagar, 1986, April month. We did a fantastic programs there in Srinagar. Almost about 7,000 people came in that program, 2 programs we did. And he was so happy. He said that, you did this wonderful thing here. I said, everything is all right. You can do this. When I was going,
said, Maharaj, my temple president gave me only 500 rupees. He took out 5,000 rupees from his pocket. He said, that Surdas, you keep it. I said, Maharaj, you are slapping me. I have never taken any money from any sadhu any time. How do I take money from you for going to my native place? He said, no. You just keep it. And whenever you will have, you return. I said, okay, Maharaj, I will take this money from you and I will have to return this and you will take it. Okay, I will take it. So that was his wonderful love and compassion for me in those days, in tough times. And he knew that I had spent more than almost about 90 lakhs of rupees for producing a film called Haridas Thakur film in those days. Some of you must have seen that Haridas Thakur film, which didn't see the light of the day, but he was knowing what was happening with me then. I continued. I took over Bhakti Kala Kshetra. He engaged me in the service of Kenya Yatra. In 1990, I did the first ever fundraising concerts for Kenya Yatra on the instructions of His Divine Grace, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Then it kept on happening, and Sirf Maharaj, he was very happy that I was serving all the sannyasis. Sirf Maharaj, it was very difficult for him to raise the funds, but I told him Maharaj has engaged me in his service for a Manipur temple. He said, go, please help him. So we did a fantastic program. I did a big program for Sirf Maharaj in Manipur, where almost about 50,000 people came for Asha Bhosle's program and R.D. Burman's program. When he heard that, then our Orissa Maharaj, Bhubaneswar Maharaj, Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, said, Surdas, you are not helping me. I said, that Maharaj ko bataiye, Maharaj. No, what should I tell him? So I kept him helping. I went for 6 months preaching in Bhubaneswar. It was a small hut where Maharaj was staying. Now people may not recognize, because after everything is done, people forget. I came back. Gopal Krishna Maharaj those days was having practically problems. I asked Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Maharaj is asking me, can I help him in Hong Kong and Philippines, Manila, where Janardhan Maharaj is coming from. I did at least about 3 fundraising programs for Hong Kong as well as Manila. One time I sent Kumar Shanu, another time I sent Lakshmikant Pyarelal, third time I sent Jagjit Singh, and fourth time Anup Chalota. That was what I was trying to do for all this. And Maharaj was feeling very happy. And every time he would say, Hare, something more you should do. Then came the Bhaktivedanta manner, big problems. Everybody would come and he would direct everybody to me, go and meet Surdas, he will help you. When Bhaktivedanta manner was in troubles, Maharaj inspired me, you should do something for that. I said, what should I do, Maharaj? Made Gavaskar to do a big walk and Rishi Kapoor to do a big walk for that Bhaktivedanta manner over there. He was very happy I could ever do that for the Bhaktivedanta manner. And many more things. Sometimes even the devotees feel very envious of me because God knows what. Whatever Maharaj was saying, and I was doing it. I was all the time doing it. Recently, just few days back, 1 week back, I met Gunmant Bhai, who came from Bhaktivedanta Manor. He said that, Surdas Prabhu, you are here. I've heard your glories of the temple. I said, they never ever tell me glories of mine. It's glory of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Because we know that internally one who is a real devotee, he would never like to take anytime any credit for what you are doing. If at all anybody is taking the credit, I think he is the most foolish person ever you meet. But one thing I will tell you, there are so many wonderful stories to say, but I will cut short because
We can have part 2 if you like.
there's so many things.
It's prasadam time and we have to come back at 4
Yes.
o'clock here.
Let me tell you from last. What you see, I'm very happy, my dear God brothers and sisters, that when I see and when I heard, when we invited our beloved Prime Minister to Kharga Temple, and I could nobody ever imagined that this would happen. Even my own friends would not believe me. The last moment also people will say, Arey, kahan aayega Modi ji? But he came, and it was not for me. He came for His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And you know why? I wrote a letter to him. I said that you don't know me and I don't know you, but you know His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And this is his. Dearmost project. And all these years, he kept on chastising me because I have an eye of an artist, and to make something beautiful, you need to put a lot of money. And to get the money, it's not easy. My dear God brothers and God sisters, along with my God brothers and God sisters there, we have put our best, and we have spent almost about 180 crores of rupees for that project. And it's one of the finest projects. I can boast of myself that yes, come and catch up in ISKCON. Of course, Mayapur is the best, and come up and catch up with this project. It's one of the best because not that we have put, because the people, and it is the saying of His Divine Grace, Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, that one day this project will attract millions of people to the project. And my dear God brothers and sisters, this is what is happening. Every day, almost about more than 1.5 lakh people visit our Radha Madan Mohanji temple. And he said to me, Surdas, you have patience, and you will become the glorious in whole of the world. And my God brothers and sisters who have come and accepted our hospitality for 1 week, never I have seen any temple opening 1 week happening and all the who's who coming to the temple. And after the opening also, this temple is attracting who's who from the world because they saw Modi glorifying His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And it was very tough he protocol didn't allow anybody to speak, nor the governor, nor the chief minister, nor the deputy chief minister, or any sannyasis to speak. I was completely wonderstruck where I am stuck up. I am not an orator like, Janardhan Prabhu Maharaj or any other devotee. I don't know, though I have been on the stage in Bollywood for almost 40 years, so capturing all those people, they know me. But to speak in front of the Prime Minister and what to speak within a short time of a protocol of 3 months, 3 minutes or 4 minutes, my God brothers and God sisters, whatever I spoke, I didn't write anything. It was mercy of my Gurudev. And I didn't know what I spoke till the whole world started, all the Vaishnava faculty started praising me. What did you speak? I said, I don't know what I spoke. Because I was under pressure. For 7 days we were contemplating between the PMO office and my office. And it was so much pressure. And all Prabhupada disciples coming, more than 100 Prabhupada disciples coming, inviting them, sending them the tickets, making them to stay here and all that stuff. It was very tough. And no help from any place. I don't want to go to details. But yes, you'll be very happy to know that whatever I grabbed from the stage got praised from Prime Minister, got praised from the Chief Minister. And in fact, you will be very happy to know that the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, next morning at 6:30, he put on his own website all the Prime Ministers of the country and Modi on one side, all the Prime Ministers with the dogs and our Prime Minister with the cow, because I had said, we are very proud of you, our Prime Minister, that you love cows, but other Prime Ministers love the dogs. So our Chief Minister, he put it on the next day morning and it became so viral. And I didn't know about it until my all congregation devotees started telling me, oh, you are already on the Facebook of the Chief Minister and even the Governor also, and even the Deputy Governor also. And I was so much under pressure. And should I tell you that? I have never told to anybody in the masses, but you, God brothers and God sisters, you must know that. The CITCO, the local authority, demanded from me 5.5 crores within 4 hours. How much? 5.5 crores for giving me the NOC, and I had to pay the money within 4 hours. All glories to my spiritual master. All glories to the Vaishnavas who have seen my plight, and all glories to my good wife. She has been the backbone of my life, because we got married in Vrindavan under the direction of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and under the demand of my god sister and my mother-in-law, Rohini Devi Dasi, who demanded that Vara should get married in Krishna Balaram temple, and His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj sanctioned it. And it was her 6 crores of rupees kept in the kitty which sparked a sparkling eyes from his spiritual master. I said that, Maharaj, so we'll try to spend so much of money for this project. And he said, what next? What next? And I will close myself here. There are so many wonderful stories.
Part 2.
my Maharaj, for my Maharaj, I prepared a glory of Bhaktivedanta Ayurvedic Healing Center. Just giving one anecdote. And we made it the world class, my dear friends. And I wanted Maharaj to recuperate over there because he used to go here and there, here and there. And for the first time in the history of our 14 years of struggle at Kargil, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj stayed for 15 days over there taking the treatment from that center. He said that, Surdas, I'm becoming very happy. I'm very becoming young. I wish you could be there for a long time. But as the call comes, he kept on going and defying the instructions of his intimate disciples for his personal glorification or personal comfort or his personal adorations. He never ever allowed the disciples to do that because he was different from the rest and he will remain different from the rest all our lives. And that's what I have to tell you, my God brothers and God sisters. Feel so nice that what you have inherited the treasure of Srila Prabhupada through Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Remain glorious and be indebted to your spiritual master in this lifetime. He can transform the stones to saintly people. Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare. Perhaps we can call upon Mataji later. We have plenty of time today and tomorrow, but now it's the stomach is growling.
Okay, so fantastic.
Thank you very much, Sura Prabhu. That's a very nice rendition of your offering to our beloved, dear most Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. So please try to come back at 4 p.m. if that is possible. Yes.
नमस्कार, मैं रवीश कुमार। 10 ग्राम सोना 1 लाख रुपए से अधिक का हो गया है। इसे लेकर मोदी भी हो रहा है। क्या सोना प्रधानमंत्री मोदी के किसी फैसले के कारण मुनाफा दे रहा है? खुद प्रधानमंत्री मोदी को भी पता नहीं होगा कि सोना उनकी वजह से 1 लाख रुपए का हो गया है, लेकिन सोशल मीडिया पर समर्थकों की फौज ढोल पीट रही है। तुलना हो रही है कि जिसने मनमोहन सिंह के समय 10 ग्राम सोना 25,000 रुपए में खरीदा, वो अब 1 लाख रुपए का हो गया है। फायदा ही फायदा हुआ है। इस तरह की दलीलें व्हाट्सएप यूनिवर्सिटी में खूब चलती हैं। वही लोग तुरंत विश्वास करते हैं जो रोते रहते हैं कि उन्हें इतिहास नहीं पढ़ाया गया। अगर एक और हिसाब निकाल दिया जाए कि आपने अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी के समय यानी 2003 में 10 ग्राम सोना 5600 रुपए का खरीदा था, तो वो मनमोहन सिंह के समय यानी 2013 में 29,000 का हो गया, 5 गुना बढ़ा। मनमोहन सिंह के 25,000 10 ग्राम से प्रधानमंत्री मोदी के समय 1 लाख हुआ, यह तो 4 गुना बढ़ा। लेकिन क्या इससे आप बहस जीत जाते हैं? बकवास बात है। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी की सरकार सोने के मामले में कहीं से कोई एक्सपर्ट नहीं है। इस सरकार ने सॉवरेन गारंटी के साथ गोल्ड बॉन्ड जारी किया था।